In this blog, we're going to look at the value and purpose of an audit plan. We'll also address the issue of, do we actually need one? As a benefit, you can use that as a tool to communicate to the auditees and make sure everyone's available. First of all, what's the purpose of an audit plan? Broadly, to communicate to the auditees what we want to cover, when we're coming, probably even restate our audit objective, scope and criteria, which we talked about in our last blog. Our second major purpose is it helps us schedule out our different audit activities and set aside some time with representatives from different areas of the business who are going to be busy. So yes, it maximises the chance that production manager, for example, can actually allocate some time at the right time that we need them to be there. In some audit situations, yes, if we're going out to do a fairly involved audit going across several departments or through quite a few operational processes, or particularly if we're going off-site to another side of our company or a supplier, an audit plan, we probably need it. It's a really good tool for that kind of purpose. In other cases, yes, you can apply the keep it simple kind of principle. If I'm auditing someone who works in the work cubicle next to me, I used to do their job anyway, it's a short, sharp audit, you probably don't need an audit plan. You can say, hey Fred, you're good to go for the audit at 9 o'clock tomorrow, and that might be enough. So some of the considerations in our audit plan, just mentioned that yes, we restate the objective, scope and criteria, because we talked about how to define them in our last blog, but that doesn't mean the auditees know what they are yet. So yes, allow some time for, gets different names here, an entry meeting, or an exit meeting, or debrief, whatever you want to call it. Actually allocate some time. Particularly, you want some management or responsible managers of the team you're auditing to turn up to those kind of things. You need to let them know what time you want to do that. Any kind of induction or other logistical issue, if there's time needs to be allocated for that, let's do that as well. And then we can start to set aside some time for auditing of the different teams or parts of a team that we need to audit. A couple of the things you can see here in the approach to the audit plan. So number one, particularly as we move between the different teams in the audit, you can see that we're scheduled to start the audit with dispatch at 10:30. Don't finish auditing production at 10:29. Obviously that can be a physical distance between the two teams, but you also need 10-15 minutes just to revise and evaluate the evidence you've gathered thus far in the audit of the production team. You've gone through a lot of information, made observations, looked at records. You need time to evaluate what is that telling you against your requirement. Is that indicating a potential non-conformance, or is it indicating conformance? Again, to even just a little bit of a contingency time, so that if we're running 5 minutes late, it's not that much of an issue. Some of the other things we have added into the schedule, obviously time for a break. A lot of information can be tiring and mentally taxing, so just a bit of downtime there, and obviously lunch breaks, things like that are important. Really important, probably the critical thing to point out here is before our exit meeting or debrief with that team we've audited, if I'm an individual auditor, I just need, again, some time allocated. I've now been through other departments to review my findings. If there are non-conformances, I'm going to need to be able to clearly communicate them in the debrief. So I want to be very clear what's the evidence to support that and what's the specific requirement that non-conformance is being made against. That's important if you're just an individual audit. If you've got 2 or more auditors, it's even more important. I have seen situations, auditors in a debrief or exit meeting, simple example, one auditor saying, there's a non-conformance because we couldn't find any records of safety induction. It's not a good situation. The auditees have shown that to auditor number 2. They'll say, yes, there is. We showed it to auditor number 2. Not a good situation to be in. You want to touch base with your other auditor. Look at your evidence collectively. What is it telling you? That might help you confirm that there's a non-conformance. Or it might say, well, hang on, no, there's not a non-conformance because there was other evidence that I, as auditor number 1, didn't see. Thanks for listening. In our next blog, we're going to deal with a really important question in the audit process of how do I gather audit evidence? If you like this video, then hit the like button below. Why not even share it with your friends? Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Appreciate you listening and keep an eye out for our next video.